this is going to be a great day. It is a great lineup set up. And I remember when I was a division director coming in and my training and this training, and yeah, we're improving. We're not only excellent Toastmasters, we are excellent virtual Toastmasters now. So anyway, our mission is to build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. And this is what we're aiming for this year. Our inspirational thought of the day is by Vala Afshar. And I had it in quotes, but can share the screen. We are not a team because we work together. We are a team because we respect, trust, and care for each other. We are not a team because we work together. We are a team because we respect, trust, and care for each other. This is very important to me, and I think it resonates with everyone who has been in leadership positions in Toastmasters so far. We have this genuine desire to help each other succeed, and that's why we work so well and we learn so much in doing it. We are not a team because we work together. We choose to be here, and we have an opportunity to be here. We are a team because we respect, trust, and care for each other. I hope your experience this year to be as rewarding and fulfilling as it was for me when I was a division director and assistant area director before that. Enjoy, get to know your clubs. All the clubs are different, and help the district grow. So with that, I would like to introduce our host for today. Judy has been a Toastmasters in 2 states and 3 districts over the last 5 years. She has held a club office position every year, is a DTM, has competed in area and division speech contests, is a 2-time Triple Crown recipient, and is currently in multiple clubs, including Standard Bearers, and she's also our outgoing club growth director. She believes that building relationships and forming a strong community allow us to stay connected, especially during these challenging times. Please help me welcome our incoming District 100 Director, the one and only Judy Bigelow. Judy.
Thank you, Marcia, so much for getting us started off this morning. Welcome to the 2020-21 Area and Division Director Training. Congratulations to you on joining the District 100 team. Your trio members are the cornerstone of the district. Our program quality director is Charlotte. She leads the way to deliver quality and value to the district and all of our members. Mike is our club growth director. He lives and breathes club growth and the mission of the district for new clubs and new members. We have a strong group of division directors leading their teams. Leading in Division A is Darren. Leading in Division G is Hovey. Leading in Division L is Ron. Leading in Division P is Carlos. Leading in Division R is Curtis. And leading in Division S we have Maggie. Our newest team members are our area directors. Today we have with us Michelle, Encina, James, Alvin, Persana, Rosario, Lucas, Richard, Justin, Julio, Alexander, Jim, Rigo, and Ricky. As area directors, you are the connection between club and district. We welcome you to the team. I also want to welcome those special guests that we have with us today. We are truly honored to have our current district director, David Flores, here today. Welcome to him for being here for this special occasion. I also want to let you know that as we grow our community here in District 100 this year, it is important to remember that each one of us can make a difference. But together, we will make history. Today is one of those days we stretch ourselves as we embrace technology and social media. We will be broadcasting live, or we are broadcasting live via YouTube, our keynote speaker. Wow. Who would have guessed a year ago we would be saying this right now today, that we're live on social media? So many times we are not aware of the behind the scenes that makes these things possible. I have an amazing back of house support. Not just the technical, he is also my lead team builder and the how come this doesn't work support guy. Mark Lucas. Not sure if you can share a few words, as I know we are about to make history. But Mark, if you're there, say hi. If not, just let me know. Houston, we're good to go sign, and we'll move forward.
Houston, we are ready for...
There you go. Thank you so much. I want to share with you today our keynote this morning is a graduate of the Art Center of Pasadena and is a true legend in the car design world, having designed vehicles for over 400 of Hollywood's biggest films, including some of my favorite, Batman, Knight Rider, Jurassic Park, Monster Garage, and Artemis Fowl. It is no wonder he is an award-winning car designer and filmmaker. He is a host for Speed Channel, TLC, Discovery, Velocity, along with many others. He has literally reached over 1 billion viewers. He is living his passion every day. We are so excited to have him here today to deliver his Tim Talk, How to Elevate Yourself to a Custodian of Cool. Please welcome, and yes, it is his legal name, Fireball Tim Lawrence.
Hey guys. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Thanks for having me. Am I moving forward? Am I taking it from here?
It's all yours, Fireball. Take it away.
Well, first, let me express some gratitude, certainly, Judy, to you and to Mark and Karen for having me. It sounds exhausting with that intro. I should be in bed at this moment from that. But I'm happy to say I've reached over 1 billion viewers. I'm hanging out with you guys now, which is even better. So very exciting. I like to start, normally I do talks where, we're on stage or there's a lot of people in a different type of venue. Obviously, we're in a different type of situation in the world right now, which I hope is temporary. But technologically speaking, this is really cool. This is pretty amazing for us to be able to get together like this and to discuss the things that we're passionate about. What I always tend to like to start out with is a little bit of history so you guys know where I came from historically from 2 different vantage points, because today we're going to talk a little bit about the power of choice and our ability to improve our lives through those choices, both mentally, verbally, and through our actions. So my history as far as design goes, I'll talk about design a bit, and then I'll talk about my self-awareness or spiritual journey, which continues, which will probably continue long after I'm gone into multiple lifetimes, and probably has continued before this. But as a designer, Judy mentioned I went to Art Center College of Design, which I did. I went to Ventura College before that and took art classes, trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to do. But I went to Art Center and became a graduate there, a Bachelor of Science in Automotive Design. But I created my own minor, which was entertainment, because I did not. Some people thought I was crazy, but I did not want to go freeze my butt off in Detroit, being a car designer. So I wanted to work in Los Angeles. I grew up in a Hollywood family. My dad has been a writer, still 93 years old, and he's been a writer in Hollywood for many, many years. Wrote 3 Elvis movies, wrote Hawaii Five-0 and Twilight Zones, all this kind of stuff. So I was around, a lot of sets and a lot of movie making growing up as a child. So it was natural that I would want to get into that in some capacity. My brother's a writer in Hollywood, and his wife is a producer, and I got into design, which was concept design, which is development, helping production designers to visualize what the film's going to look like in order to get the money, in order to put the sets together so that people can go to the movies and enjoy themselves. I graduated from Art Center, went to Walt Disney Imagineering, decided to venture out a little bit, and I wasn't really sure how to get into movies, so I went into theme park design, where I met my wife, and eventually we started our own business after we left Disney, worked on a number of rides and shows and things like that, to kind of build your repertoire there. And went into film after that, went into commercials, then into television, and then finally into movies, and have been foot on the floor ever since. But about 20 years ago, we started our own business. Someone else talking? No? Okay, if someone has a question, by all means. But we started our own business, which was KCL Productions, and then ultimately became Fireball Publishing, which is what it is now. I still design for film, but we have a kind of a high-end coloring book company. So I do automotive and sea life coloring books that sell worldwide, and we do hyper niche books. So there's really only 2 companies in the world that create coloring books on a level that we aspire to be, and that is Disney. They create their Star Wars and their Marvel books, and then a company called Bendon, they do rainbows and ponies, if you know what I mean by that. So those kinds of things. But we wanted to develop a coloring book company that catered to the hyper niche as far as automotive people that love sea life, specifically books on turtles and educating kids about sea life, and books about Mustangs and Camaros and things like that. We have a brand new Camaro book that just came out, and we are literally doing our next book is a celebrity book with the actor Tony Dow, who was Wally on Leave the Beaver. And you guys are the first ones to hear that, we're very excited about that. So in August, we're going to have that come out. So that's kind of my journey as a designer, and it's constantly evolving, and that's the physical side. The physical side is based on as we grow, as we try to grow in the world and become successful. Success is really a state of mind. It's not something that we necessarily work towards. It's something that evolves out of us. So my spiritual journey started many years ago, and as a child, I got to meet, when I was very young, with the Maharishi. When I was about 7 or 8, I got introduced to him. I had no idea. I actually thought it was a lady because he was wearing robes at the time, and I didn't know any better. But for some reason, I have been blessed to be able to meet a lot of great people over the years, and I got into everything from Gati Renker as a young adult, to Tony Robbins, to Paramahansa Yogananda, lots of different stuff. And I have a library here to my right, which I probably have about 1,000 books specifically on self-development, self-awareness. And you realize that after a period of time, this growth that you're working towards, enlightenment, or however you want to call it, is not something you ever really attain. It's something that constantly unfolds out of you. And with you guys in Toastmasters, what I'm going to try to talk about a little bit today is our ability to put ourselves in a state of flow while we're talking, while you're on stage. And there's ways to prepare yourself for that. And when we talk about becoming a custodian of cool, which is kind of a moniker that we've developed, we have a show called Art Talk. We do every Monday on Facebook Live in the mornings at 8 a.m. And the idea of a custodian of cool is someone that aspires to bring positivity into their lives and to be able to share that positivity with others. It's a challenge. It's an easy thing to understand in the sense that I could give you an assignment to read 50 books on riding a bicycle. And all of you could read those books and you become very intellectually prosperous, and you could come back, we could have a meeting, we could all talk about what it's like and the technicalities and what kind of brakes you have, whether Shimano's or whether they're this or that, or what kind of frame you should have. You'd be very well versed on riding bikes, yet you've never gotten on the bike itself. And that's the experience that we're talking about. All these books that I have over to my right have no meaning unless I actually apply some of these things within my life, and I make mistakes and work through those things. So we are in a very challenging time right now. And there's a lot of violence going on in the world. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of criticism. There's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of stuff. And all we want to do is move forward and try to create the best possible lives for ourselves. And I'm telling you that is not only possible and doable, but it's something that you can absolutely experience in this moment right now. And you can chain link those moments from one to the other. And you can build yourself a hell of a life, an amazing life. And this really comes down to our ability to choose what we think about, to choose what we voice our opinions about, the verbal aspect of ourselves, and our actions. So those three things, those are really the only three things that we can control in our lives. We can control what we think about, we can control what we say, and we control the actions that we do. Now, many people recently have chosen to loot stores, to become violent, to become angry. And I want you guys to aspire to something greater. I know that you are, otherwise you would not be here. Many of you that are watching on YouTube right now, we are all being faced with a lot of challenges in this time. Normally my talks would be a lot lighter and maybe a little bit more humor, but I think that's important now that we have something that's serious that's going on, and that if we are diligent and focused, we can all prosper equally and be able to share that with each other. Okay, let me take a quick swig here. So I would say that the first step towards achieving this in any goal, in any desire, is that, number one, we have to know where we're going. We have to understand that in order to get somewhere, we have to know where we're going. We wouldn't get on a plane and fly around for an hour and then try to figure out where the hell we're going. We would always decide, right out of the gate, we want to go to Hawaii, we want to go to China, Michelle. We want to go someplace that would be really fun, right? That we would enjoy ourselves. Rarely do we fly someplace that we don't want to go to. We're not going to get in a plane and fly to Afghanistan for fun. So it comes down to our ability to choose that, and that's a very obvious choice. Hi, Karen. How are you? So the thing about this is that many of us see things that happen in the world. It could be somebody cutting you off on the street. It could be a situation you see on television. And we react to those things. And because we basically, what we call reversify our lives, is that we don't move forward unless we are essentially backed against the wall. We react to this, we react to that, and our life becomes a series of reactions. And the way life is actually the opposite. The truth of life, and that little secret, I'll tell you a quick story, is that, and many of you have probably heard this over the years and maybe variations of it, but the great gods on Mount Olympus decided that they didn't want man to know the secret of growth and prosperity, because if they did, then they could become gods, and the gods don't want that. So they decided to take man's awareness and to hide it. And one god said, well, why don't we stick it on the top of the highest mountain up there, and they'll never find it. They said, no, someone will climb up that mountain, and they'll capture their awareness, and they'll find out where it is. And then another god said, well, why don't we hide it deep in the ocean? And that way they won't be able to swim down to the bottom of the ocean and say, well, have you met James Cameron? Because he's gone down to the bottom of the ocean, right? So they decided, well, that's not the place to do it. And then the last god said, well, I got an idea. How about if we decide to hide man's awareness deep within himself? He'll never think to look there. And surprise, that's exactly where it is. The study of self-awareness is the journey of going from a two-dimensional person to a three-dimensional person. And that's a very difficult thing to understand, because something that's two-dimensional does not know what it's like to be three-dimensional. Dogs don't know what it's like to be human. You know, a child doesn't know what it's like to be an adult. They have to go through this experience. And our experience of coming from a two-dimensional person to a three-dimensional person through self-awareness is realizing not only that choice is the true power that's within ourselves, it's to choose wisely. And since we only control three things, which is our thoughts, our words, and our actions, those are the only things that we can apply choice towards. And I want you guys to think about that. So it's easy to say, like I said, you can explain this to a child of 10 years old and they can get this. The difficult part, kind of like reading a bunch of books about riding the bike, you can understand that. The difficult part is actually getting on the bike and riding, okay? So this is where the challenge is, that every single day we are faced with the evolution of these three things, of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Now, some of you may have not too much difficulty with your words. Some of you may find it easier just to act and not say anything. Some of you may be intellectual and can think easier, but have trouble following through with your actions. But where people get in trouble, and why the world is in a lot of the trouble currently that it is that their thoughts betray them. They're reacting to the things that they see on television and the news and the violence and the anger and the rage. So their thoughts become thoughts of fear and anxiety. What if that comes to our town? What if someone tries to break into my house? These are all thoughts of fear that are predicated on what it is that they have been filling themselves with, okay? And then our words are simply that. You know, what if, I would say to my wife, what if someone comes and tries to break in, right? These kinds of things, these kinds of words are extremely dangerous, and I'll tell you why in a second. And then the last thing is our actions, is that if we are taking actions that are based in fear, we are generally always going to take the wrong action, because actions that improve us as individuals, as people, those kinds of actions that are growth actions are all based in love, they're based in joy, they're based in harmony, they're based in equality, they're based on the fact that, I love looking at everybody's face, and everybody's face is different here. Is that I could care less what color your skin is, what color any of your hair or anything else. I only have a difficulty with one type of person, and that's the a-holes. Forgive me for saying. Is that people, and you have to understand at the same time, is that most people that are jerks, their thinking process is stuck in a mode of fear. And people that attack, whether it's physically, verbally, or through criticism, these people are feeling attacked themselves. So they're simply verbalizing what they're thinking. And if we can somehow take a step back and not react to the negativity that's coming to us, whether it's a comment someone makes online, whether it's someone bashing in your door because you parked in front of their garage, or all the challenges that we face throughout the day. The reason that these things are dangerous is for this very specific reason, is that you understand that wind is air in motion. We would all agree with that, right? Is that you can't see the air, but you can feel it, right? And thoughts are inert, but thoughts mixed with emotion are very powerful. It's kind of like if your thought is a rocket and you add emotion to your thought, that's what takes the rocket off. Okay? So if you're having a conversation with someone, it could be a normal conversation. You could be just talking and not having an issue. And then suddenly it becomes what they call heated, a heated conversation. Emotion starts to get into it. And then pretty soon you start to see what's happens on television. And we're fed this through Hollywood, through movies. I think 96% of all films have firearms in them. You know, most movies are about revenge. In some case, someone did me wrong, and we got to get them back. So we're inundated with this kind of stuff, and it's a very difficult challenge to become a custodian of cool, to maintain some assemblage of positivity in your life when you're constantly being fed a lot of negativity through advertising, through the things that we watch. So we have to be diligent. We have to be very careful about the things that we feed ourselves with. Many of you would agree that smoking isn't necessarily good for you, or eating too much, or, you know, we have a lot of these things that are pretty straightforward, yet we're not very diligent about feeding our minds. Is that we have to make sure that we feed our minds that which is going to help us to grow. Now, going back to my original point, which is that we all want to get somewhere, right? We understand that we want to achieve a certain level of success. We want to be a good grandfather. Rigo, maybe we want, as we have grandchildren that suddenly appear in our lives. I'm very fortunate to be one. And you realize that the children are 100% purely subconscious for the first 7 years. So they are basically just a walking sponge. And if you have to be very careful about what you feed them. Now, there's an author I would recommend that you guys check out. It was a French philosopher. His name was Emile Coué. And Emile coined the term autosuggestion. And autosuggestion comes from initially the idea of suggestion. And that is simply, let's pick someone. Maggie, how are you? Maggie Escobar, good to see you. Maggie, you have what color is your shirt that you're wearing?
Black and white.
Black and white. Okay, if I said to you, Maggie, how you doing today? Having a good time today? Wow, I noticed you're wearing a black and white shirt. You know, you look much better in a yellow shirt. But that's up to you. No big deal. Now, what I've just done is I've created a suggestion. Now, if Maggie's confident, she's going to say, what the heck does he know about yellow? He doesn't know squat. I look fantastic, right? But some people may take that as like, oh, what should I change? You know, it might fester for a couple of days, and then suddenly you put that shirt on in a week, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you go like, wow, I don't think I really look all that great in this. I might try a color. And then subconsciously, a few days later, you might buy a yellow shirt. Now, whether that happens or not, it all comes down to Maggie's ability to subconsciously or consciously control her thoughts. But that's a suggestion. But what I've done is, since I've planted that suggestion, once Maggie begins to believe it, it becomes an auto-suggestion. It becomes a suggestion that no longer needs me. It's something that has festered on its own, and Maggie's going to run with it. Now, we do this all the time. We suggest negativity and positivity to people. Oh, you got to get a new lock for your door because look what's happening. Look what's going on in the world. Or what the hell are you driving that gas guzzler for? Right? That's a suggestion. So we're giving suggestions all the time, and I'm suggesting right now to you guys through this talk that you can become a positive-minded person, someone that is constantly bringing themselves the evolution of greatness. And I can plant that suggestion in you, but it comes down to your auto-suggestion and the repetition of your auto-suggestion as to whether you're going to believe it, to where it's going to become a suggestion, and then it's going to become a habit, then it's going to become a part of your nature, and then it's going to become you. And you're going to say, I am this way. I am this way. Now, what is the two most powerful words in the English language? Anyone have an idea? Stick your hand up. Anybody? Maggie?
I'll take a stab at it. Love and hate.
Love and hate. Those are very, very powerful words, but those are state of mind words. Now, the true and the good thing about that is that will segue into what I'm about to say. The two most powerful words in the human language are I am, because after I am, we get to choose. You can say I am love, or you can say I am hate, right? It's your choice. Now, freedom of choice is what we get to have. This is our gift as human beings, right? And the sooner you guys realize that life is not cruel or difficult or a challenge, but life is a gift, then you'll start giving. You'll start giving things to yourself, like good thoughts. You start working on good thoughts. You start working on possibility. You start working on good words to yourself. How many of you have ever walked into the bathroom and said in the mirror and said to yourself, man, you did a great job today. You did a great job today. Those are important things for us to consider. And then our actions speak volumes. Now, you'll see many people on television looting and walking out with surfboards and skateboards and all kinds of stuff. Here in Santa Monica, they ransacked the bands. You don't need to worry about those people, because those people they're on a certain level of the totem pole right now, as we are. And they're going to suffer if they already aren't suffering in some capacity. Those are people with a mindset of a have-not, is that they want stuff, they want it for free, and they're going to risk their lives and their lifestyle to get surfboards, right? You know, it would suck pretty bad as you steal a pair of shoes, one pair of shoes, and you walk out of the store and there's cops right there and they take you away for one pair of shoes. This comes down to our choices. I don't have this thing. Here's an opportunity to break into this place. So I'm going to verbally say, I'm going to do it. And then my action is going to be a product, a result of that. And many people are doing that. The choice of creating violence as a solution to our problems. None of those things have ever worked. You know, we were around in the 60s when that was happening. It was happening during Rodney King. It was happening during all of these things, right? This is never a solution. Hopefully someday it will stop, but the buck does stop here. Right now, you guys can make a conscious choice in this moment for today. I'm not talking about changing your whole life. I'm not talking about changing tomorrow. I'm talking about your ability to apply what I'm saying in this moment right here, and that you're going to have a great day today. You're going to have an amazing day today. And this is your choice. This is your gift. You get to choose. You get to choose. You can choose poorly and say, oh man, I'm exhausted. I got to go lay down. This is hell. What Fireball's talking about is hell, and I can't do this, right? Or you can say, you know, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to feel good about this. I'm going to choose to eat the food today that I really like. I'm going to choose to have good coffee like Roberta's having right now in that huge mug, right? You know, you're going to make better choices, but you can't make better choices about your thoughts or your words or your actions until you become conscious of them. That's what I mean by turning from a two-dimensional person who is unaware of their ability to choose and makes poor choices, like ransacking a van store, to someone who is a three-dimensional person who is self-aware, who understands that the choices they make is the fuel that goes in the rocket and that goes out. But here's the big picture, the overall picture from the 64,000 foot level. Whatever you put out in the world, whatever you emanate, your energy that you put out is going to come back to you 100-fold. Guaranteed. You can't get away with this. You can't get away from it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the politicians are doing. It doesn't matter what anyone out there is doing, because what's going to come back to them is exactly what they're putting out. I always thought it interesting. Remember Bernie Madoff, who made off with all that money? Well, the day before he got caught, we all thought he was he was one thing, right? And the day after he got caught, that was it. It was over, right? You can't get away with it. Now, doesn't mean that I'm going to say that in this lifetime. You know, I don't know about things like that, but I can say that that karma is not a concept. Karma is not an idea. Karma is a scientific-based reality. If you go and give someone a hard time is coming at you. You go and you give someone love and kindness, then you will fill your life with love and kindness. It's as simple as that. But it requires the ante, and the ante is for you to become more self-aware in every way that you can. So when you make choices about the thoughts that you have in your mind about whether you can do things, whether you can step up on stage and you can give a speech in front of 3,000 people, whether you can go and convince your child's teacher to stop being such a jerk, whether you can go and convince this guy that he should have your product for the price that you're selling it for and stand your ground. You're faced with these choices every single day with your thoughts. With your words, you can give words to your kids that are expansive, like, wow, great job, even though they did a terrible job. They did a terrible job washing the car for the first time. You tell them what a great job they did. This is your choice because you're suggesting something to them. And you have to see that. You're suggesting to them that they can. And they're going to develop a mindset. It's going to become their nature as they get older. You can do the same thing with your husband, same thing with your wife, same thing with your cousins, same thing with your friends. You have an opportunity, okay? So, but it requires self-awareness and to be able to say the words that people need to hear. Like, this is all going to be over soon. We're all going to get back to some assemblage of normalcy, and you guys are going to be smiling. And who knows, we might continue to do this in a year, even though we could do it live. You know, this is really cool, right? Pretty neat technologically. So that's the kind of thing that we try to do on Art Talk. We have another show that's Fireball Malibu Vlog. It's a vlog series that airs on the Auto Channel and to about 30 million viewers or something like that. I forget how big it is, but we have almost 1,000 episodes on that. I hope you guys will join us there. And our website is fireballtim.com. We do a lot of things with cars. I love cars. It was the only thing my parents gave me as a child, cars and art supplies. And I'm still doing the same thing. And if we can help in any way, through identifying our passions and following through with them, then we want to be able to share that because that's how we're going to get through all of this together. All right. I appreciate you guys' time. If anybody has any questions, I guess I have a chat here that might show up, but I appreciate hanging out with you guys.
Wow, that was really amazing, Tim. That's just amazing. You know, I want to just share some of the major key points and takeaways that I just got from that resonated so deeply with me in the things that you shared. One, what you have control over and what you don't. It's so true that we have our thoughts, our words, and our actions that we have control over. And I really want to make sure that we focus all year long and work on the things that we don't have control of and letting those things go and focusing on the things that we do have control of. Also, I think karma is an amazing thing. It's not what everybody says it is. Karma is just exactly what you said. You get in what you get back what you put in. You want respect, then you have to give respect. You want to be loved, then you need to give love and become more lovable. So those are things that are just really amazing things to take away and to carry throughout the day with yourselves. I want to open the floor for our inner circle here. Does anyone have any questions for Fireball? You can wave or unmute yourself and share. Let's see. Hold on. We'll take them one at a time, you guys. You're all excited. Michelle, go ahead and go first.
Thank you so much for this inspirational talk, Fireball. So I have one question for you. What is your thoughts on the multidimensional being? Because you have mentioned three-dimensional. Are you familiar with the multidimensional?
Well, as I understand it, there are certain things that we're meant to know in this dimension, and there were certain things that we're meant to ponder. And I think that pondering is very important because thinking is really the impetus for all the things that we do. As a multidimensional being, I think what's important to understand is that for me is that when this is over, when this particular talk is over, I have a choice in which direction that I want to go in my life. I can get up from here and go have breakfast. I can get up and go draw. I can get up and go kiss my wife. There's a lot of things that I can go do. And because I have those choices, I have infinite scenarios, infinite dimensions to which I can participate in. And as I see as a multiple dimensional being is not so much that I'm trying to exist in multi dimensions at the same time, is that I simply understand that through the power of choice and choice awareness, that I can choose what is the best path for me based on what I want to achieve in my life. If I want more love in my life, then my choice probably should be go kiss my wife. If I want to become a better illustrator or a better performer, then there's things like that. Where we get into trouble is where we begin to choose from feelings of fear or anxiety and a lot of the things that we participate in. So the multi-dimension, I feel, and I could be wrong about this, I simply have to kind of look at it from the only perspective I know, and that is that I love the idea that, and I think it comes from when I was a kid. We would all pile into our station wagon and my parents would tell us where we were going to go, and the excitement of not knowing where we were going to end up was the best thing for me. Is that we would end up going to a pond and feeding ducks, so we would go to a nursery and play in the plants, or we'd go to Disneyland, or you didn't know where you were going to go. So I love that idea. I love the idea that I can wake up in the morning and I don't know what's coming, and I get to create that. So that for me is a multi-dimensional experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Justin, did you have a question?
Oh, just a comment. It was really insightful today. I learned so much. I think as I'm getting older, I've made so many dumb mistakes in the past, but everything is really subconscious. Everything in life. I mean, it's our heart and our subconscious mind. And there's a proverb that says in the Bible, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." I know it's not exactly biblical in the talk, but it applies in any religion or society. What we think about really is what we become. And that's really
Absolutely.
cool.
Justin, very good point. And I've always believed that the Bible is actually a book of science. It's just the verbal of the day isn't easy for us to understand now. But as you think of, it's the same thing with, Jesus turning the other cheek, is that he didn't mean to say necessarily verbatim that, turn your cheek away. The point is to not give your attention to the negativity of the world, because those are attention stealers. Is that what we put our attention on grows. And it's important that if we put our attention on love, if we put our attention on a self-fulfillment, then that's going to grow. In the same way that if a child does a drawing and you tell that child, "Wow, that's spectacular, you did a great job," they immediately want to go back and draw some more. But most of us say, "Stop drawing and get back to doing the dishes," or nice job, whatever. Is that we create those suggestions that way. And it's very important that a conscious-based person understands exactly what you just said. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So what you believe yourself to be, certainly don't get down on yourself for mistakes, because mistakes are where it's at. I love making mistakes. I love screwing up, because it immediately reveals the truth, the right direction. And many of them, I would not be where I am today without many of my mistakes. So I'm very grateful for them. So revel in that, Justin. You got places to go, buddy. That's awesome.
Thanks, Sid. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. And that brings to mind, if you want to follow more along those lines, a great book. It's a very small book, but As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It goes along those same philosophies, and it's a great place to expand your thoughts and your knowledge there. Are there any other questions for Fireball? Maggie.
It's not a question. It's more of a, how do you start your morning? Right? That's a curiosity that I ask a lot of people. How do you start your morning in a good mood, in a bad mood? What would you tell us or help us start our morning?
Well, it's a two-part question. I think I used to start my mornings like pretty much everybody else. You get up and you just kind of get going, and things start rolling around in the marbles start rolling around. Oh, I got this to do today. I got that to do today, and many times what I was thinking the night before would just naturally kind of roll in, and if there was something bad that was happening or a challenge that was happening the night before, I would just automatically go into that. So that anxiety or that fear could continue like I never even slept. But the way I approach my life now is that I have created some habits that work very well for me, and help me to expand so that I start the day off right. The moment my feet hit the ground, I try to put myself in a state of gratitude, and try to not get up from the bed. I sit up, but I don't get up from the bed until I can think of one thing to be grateful for. And sometimes it might simply be the fact that I got up, that it's not my time to check out yet. And the thing about that is that when you plant that one seed of gratitude, you're emanating a thought. What you push out comes back to you. So there's a high probability that if you think one thought of gratitude, it's very difficult when you're enraged or you're depressed or you're having a difficult day. But the hardest thing that we can do is to go from feeling that depression to feeling gratitude over here. That chasm, that distance is tremendously difficult sometimes to make our way there. But the moment we do, and the reason that the rest of our day turns into gold is because we've expended that effort to change our mindset from any kind of negativity, any type of anxiety, to a sense of gratitude. And I've done that many times. It's really tough. It's the hardest thing that a human being has to do, is to change their mindset in any given moment. Stop being angry. You want to really piss off your wife? Say to her, stop being angry, right? It doesn't do it. It just continues further, right? Is that you have to shift the mindset away. That's when Jesus said, turn the other cheek. Stop giving your attention to the negativity and start putting it on. Make a choice what you want to put it on. So when I wake up in the morning, I try to consciously make a choice to put my mind on a sense of gratitude. I go up, I make some coffee. I come into my office, and generally I'm up at around 4:30. It's a quiet time for me, so I can do some emails and things like that. But I spend about 10 to 15 minutes meditating, and meditation is not some Eastern wacko thing. Meditation is simply the Eastern term for our Western term, and the Western term is concentration. That's all it is that when you're in front of the computer and you're concentrating on something, you're in a meditative state. You're focused on whether it's paying your bills or writing an email or something like that. But when you truly meditate, you close your eyes, you shut your visual down, you shut your hearing down, you shut your verbal down, and you try to connect with a sense of peace. And you can do that by repeating to yourself a mantra, something, that you can say peace. You can say, many people say to me they have difficulty sleeping. And I said, well, describe it to me. What's so difficult? So I go to bed, my mind won't turn off. And from the victim's standpoint, they are reacting to the fact that their mind won't turn off. But I'm going to give you the secret to falling asleep right here, right now. And I've been doing it for the last 25 years, and it's worked every night since. So you ready? Because this is it. When you go to bed, tell yourself, oh, I'm sleeping so good. I'm sleeping so good. I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. Just keep repeating, I'm sleeping, over and over again, using the two most powerful words in the human language, which is I am sleeping. And guess what will happen? Well, you guys try it. You guys try it. But I guarantee I have never had a problem since. And I was an insomniac. I could not sleep. My mind would not turn off, right? So if you go to bed tonight, but think about the ramifications of that. I'm saying applying that to sleeping. What if you started saying, I am wealthy, over and over and over? What if you say, I am loved, I am loving, I am helpful, I'm a badass, I'm a custodian of cool. You can say anything you want, right? But I'm telling you right now, this is the answer. You get up on stage and you're nervous, you say, I am confident. I am nerve-free. I'm not sure there's even a term for that, you know? It works. This is how it works. Okay? So Maggie, you know, my morning is about making that I am choice in the morning, and to be grateful that I have that time before my wife wakes up, to start the day and to get, you know, it's like, how can I serve? What can I do this morning that's going to make someone else's life better? And by doing that, my life will naturally become better. Okay? Stop making it about yourselves, people. Start making it about somebody else. Think about who you can help today. Whether it's your customer, whether it's your mother-in-law, you know, don't put her in the trunk. Try to think of some other thing you can do with her. So hopefully that answers the question. Is applying that I am ideology to your day in the morning. Okay. Anybody else?
Awesome question, Maggie. And I'm going to put a challenge out right now with that to Charlotte. Tonight, Charlotte, I want you to try the I am a great sleeper. And I want to hear a report back on how that comes out.
Yeah. She might not get up for a while, so you may not hear back for a while.
I know, that's okay. That'll be a great accomplishment.
Sure.
Any other questions for Fireball? Okay, what I would like to do is not only extend my gratitude for the message that you shared with us today. It hit home and it resonated so much. And I appreciate that. And today that's my gratitude and the thing that I will focus on. But I'd also like to share this moment with Karen Lucas, because I know she has a few words that she'd like to share on behalf for us. Please.
Thank you so much, Fireball, for being here with us today. I always appreciate that you have something of value to share with our members and you took time out of your day. The fact that we have a choice and I am is our choice, and we can have great habits and opt to do that. Meditate, don't vegetate, and above all, language. I love that I don't have to say I have to, but I get to. And one of the coolest things ever is I get to do the 2 tenets in Planet Toastmasters with you. And that is, whenever we have somebody that gives us value, we pay them in our nonprofit way with not just gratitude and appreciation, but also we are going to ship this to you. This is a Planet Toastmasters book because we know that you like to draw and we know that you absolutely love to collect thoughts. So we have this here, and I'm keeping the plastic on, but we have a plexi with your name on it and Planet Toastmasters, so that you will always remember your friends here in District 100, whether it's blindfold driving or being a custodian of cool. We absolutely cherish our friendship with you and what you share with us. Thank you so much, and it's an honor having you here.
Thank you very much. I'll leave you with this last thought, and that is simply that Buddha said, remember to remember. That's the difficult part. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karen, Mark, Judy. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to bugger out so you guys can get back to business, but I appreciate it very much, and I will see you all very soon.
Have an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, team. That was an amazing presentation.